Man, what's going on, man? I want to make a video about this for the longest, but I ain't never really get around to it. And really, I want to talk about being unequally yoked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us, we ignore how unequally yoked we are with a person. And that starts off first by not knowing who you are. You know, not knowing who you are, you will be unequally yoked with everybody around you because they're just there for the moment. You're just there for the moment. You don't even know that you're gonna change. You don't know you're gonna grow up, and your appetite is gonna be different. What satisfies you is gonna change. They're gonna be in that stuff for the long run, and you don't even know that next year you're not gonna like it. That's why it's so dangerous to be in blind friendships, blind relationships, not knowing who you're marrying, not knowing who you're having kids with. All of those things is something we need to take the time and ask God for discernment while we're making those type of decisions. Because trust me, it doesn't matter what type of relationship it is. Anything in your past can come into your future and mess it up big time. It really don't matter. As long as you have some close tie with it, it can try to come back and mess up your future. So, like, I wanted to talk about like marriage and things like that because it's like, that's a long term thing. That's something that family gets involved in, children, what I'm saying, get involved in once you get into marriages and things. Because a lot of times we don't really take the time to get to know a person or to get to know ourselves, especially when it comes to dating. We overlook a lot of things and just be like, well, I'm gonna just deal with it when we get married. When there's things that you could have really addressed before you got married. Y'all could have talked to each other. That way, later on down the line, you won't have petty arguments. You won't feel like they never understood you. That's because y'all just overlooked stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I've never been married, but I can say that from relationships. Oh, this person never understands. It's like talking to a wall. We never even really got to know each other in the first place. We was never really good friends. We just jumped right into something based on our emotions alone, and emotions don't always last. And one thing about marriage is it shouldn't just be an emotional foundation in the first place. It shouldn't be like that. Because if it is, it's probably going to flop. It's probably going to fail. You know what I'm saying? You need God as your foundation for everything in this life. But when it comes to dealing with another person, you definitely need God as your foundation. Friendships, it don't matter what type of relationship it is, all of them. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't, and even if, this is another thing I want to say about that. Even if you and your partner, if God told the both of y'all that he is okay with y'all getting married and he wants y'all to do that, sometimes when he approves something like that, you want to make sure you're still getting married at the right time, because you don't want to marry the right person but the wrong version of them. You don't want to be dealing with the immature version of them, and God was looking at the mature version of them. You know what I'm saying? So like, every move we make, we gotta do it with discernment. If we don't, things is gonna, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna bite us later. It's gonna bother us later. It's like, it can be from small things to bigger things. To, do they leave on time when y'all take family trips? Do they ever clean up? Do they know how to cook? Do they know how to drive? All those things that you just think like, oh man, we gonna figure that out later. Things like pornography, like, oh, they just doing that because we waiting on having sex. When we start having sex, it'll get over with. That'll die down. No, it won't. A lot of things aren't gonna change just because you live together. Living together, putting a ring on somebody else's finger, a lot of things isn't gonna change just because you took your title to a higher level. You can be on the level of a wife without giving them all of the wife benefits. You don't have to give them every single benefit. You can just hold the character. And when the time come, that's when everything else should come in an appropriate manner. So a lot of us, we just rush into things based on emotions alone. A lot of us, we click with people because at the time frame, me and bro was into the same thing. A month later, I don't even like doing that no more. And that's all they good for is that one thing. And vice versa, it could be you. You know what I'm saying? And there's times where we feel like people switch up or people are fake because they no longer want to do the same things. Man, sometimes God just calls us higher. And it's like, it ain't personal, it's just spiritual. Like I gotta do something else. I'm not even comfortable with doing that no more. I'm not finna settle for less just to please you. Like life is way deeper than being a people pleaser. You gotta learn how to please God. You gotta learn how to be solid to the one who created us, the one who's being solid back to us. You know what I'm saying? Why not be faithful to somebody who's being faithful to me? And he got my back. He got my family back. He got all that. He gonna, you know what I'm saying, make a way for those who's making room. So we gotta realize that like being unequally yoked, that can mess you up so bad. It can mess you up. And it never really happens in the beginning because it doesn't feel like you unequally yoked in the beginning. You having fun in the beginning. You feeling the butterflies in the beginning. In the beginning can be like 1 to 5 years. You don't really know how long it's gonna take for you for your eyes to for your eyes to be open. Something like the smallest inconvenience can happen and you realize like, man, I didn't even realize they get mad that fast. I didn't even realize that they be yelling that much. You know what I'm saying? And it's been stuff that you could have been noticed. Y'all could have talked about that stuff before y'all got married to let them know, like, look, I got a problem with that. And I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to just leave you alone for a second. I ain't finna deal with nobody else. You ain't got to deal with nobody else. I want to, you know what I'm saying? I want you, but we got to take some more stuff serious before we make this commitment. I don't want to just try to ignore, look over, and act like it's going to pass away. It's not. You can't sweep certain stuff under the rug. Some things come back and they really affect you. Especially when you having children with people. You got to watch who you have sex with. That's why purity that's something you should work on. The world makes being a virgin like you goofy for being a virgin or something like that. Like you lame for being a virgin. And I'm gonna be real, like that's overrated for real, for real. If you ain't married, it's overrated. All you gonna do is run into STDs, potential baby mamas, potential baby fathers, you know what I'm saying? Extra emotions, even though you're like, it's just sexual emotions. You're dead. Well, that person is dead to you, and they're only good for one thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to have all that stuff. You don't want to rack up bodies. And then when you find somebody that you do want to deal with, your past is bothering them. And all these other complications is coming up. You got to, you know what I'm saying? You got to co-parent and stuff like that. You know, God can make a way, you know what I'm saying? But if you have the chance to avoid certain things, you need to avoid certain things and wait. If I could be a virgin, you know what I'm saying, I would love to go to the altar as a virgin. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff, I thank God that He cleared my mind from a lot of things, but to just think about, like, what if I never experienced in the first place? You know? What if I just waited and wasn't trying to be prideful and prove something to myself? And that's another reason why I'm talking about being unequally yoked. When you don't know yourself, you do irrational stuff. You do stuff for the moment, and you thinking that's the best option to do. You choosing your friends because, shoot, that was who was right there. You was lonely, and they was giving you company. So it's like, we got to pay more attention. We got to spend more time with God so He can give us discernment on what's right and what's wrong. And not just for your right now, but for your future. A lot of us, we be playing for real, and we know we playing. We just scared to make that move. We scared to be alone. And at the end of the day, you're really not alone. Especially if you dealing with God. You're not alone. You got people praying for you. God is right by your side. He'll talk to you in His own unique way. Everybody here is God in the same fashion, but in their own, you know, personal relationship. However He talks to you, you'll catch on to it and you'll love it. You'll realize that you was never alone. You'll realize all the times where He had your back or how He shouldn't have your back and He still kept you through it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we just got to realize this one thing, that every good idea is not from God. everything that's quick and easy to access shouldn't be accessed. We gotta take a step back and ask God, like, hold on, is this good for my future? Do you want me to learn something from this? Do you want me to teach this person something? Am I making the right decision? You gotta be honest when you got that sin on your mind. Like, look, God, I want a girlfriend, but I can't. You know what I'm saying? I haven't even got away from porn yet. I'm just saying an example. Like, you know what I'm saying? God, He already knows. God wants us to be good stewards to what He wants to give us. So He says, delight in the Lord, and He'll give us the desires of our heart. So once you delight and stuff like that, He's gonna give you what fits you. He's gonna give you it at the right time in the right place. It's just us that sometimes we hear one small yes from God, and then we jump too fast, and then we end up crashing. We gotta take the time and just be like, all right, God, I know you're gonna give me a wife. I don't gotta go back and just look in my inbox and see who I ain't messaged back and just hit somebody random, you know what I'm saying? Hit somebody back, try to fill in the void. We ain't gotta do all that, irrational stuff. I thank God that He changed my mind, like, within a year or two. Like, I'm a completely different person, for real. So it's like, I can understand if some people are mad because of what happened and how I changed. Like, you know what I'm saying? We was unequally yoked. I pray for a lot of people that probably think probably think we beefing or something. Like, man, I ain't worried about nothing in my past, for real. You know what I'm saying? I don't be holding nothing against nobody. I'm sitting here trying to do what God want me to do. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm trying to be, the light. I'm trying to show people that change is real, God is real, and maturity is important, for real. Just having discernment is important. You don't want all types of spirits around you. You want to be able to go in somebody's house and be like, man, they doing witchcraft here. You want to be able to know that. You want to be able to get somebody's food and be like, nah, they do some weird type of prayers in here. It's some weird remedies in here. You want to catch on to stuff like that. You want to be able to tell when somebody is not being them true self in front of you, and like, nah, you gonna flip the script like a month later. Like, this ain't really who you is. You want to pay attention to red flags. A lot of times when you emotionally led and not spirit led, you just get hit in the head later. We gotta take our time, be intimate with God. Don't be afraid to be intimate with God. The world makes us overthink that. I used to overthink that, like, man, what if God gonna judge me? God gonna do this and do that? Look, if we die in our sins, there's nothing we can do about that. Getting right with Him right now is nothing you should be scared of. Go ahead, talk to Him, tell Him everything. Tell Him that, man, it's hard for me to even talk to you. I'm not used to talking to God. I talk to the people in front of me, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times we scared to make that jump, make that first move. And it's all right to have those natural feelings. The thing is, you just got to realize we have to fall in love with God, fall in love with the gifts He's given us, fall in love with discernment, fall in love with His Spirit, and everything going to start making sense in the end. You're going to have a totally different perspective. You're going to love it. You're going to wish you did it sooner. You know what I mean? So, like, I just wanted to talk about being unequally yoked with God, just not knowing who you are, relationships, friendships. I just wanted to rant about that real quick, but you know what I'm saying? Just take your time, focus, and don't compromise because of the people that's around you. Don't be a people pleaser. Just do what God is putting on your heart, for real. It's gonna pay off way more than what somebody that don't know what's going on is trying to tell you. I don't care how close they is to you, back up a little bit. Give them some space so you can talk to God. I don't care if your baby mama, your baby daddy, your parents, I don't care who it is. It shouldn't matter who it is. When you stand for God, you either gonna stand for Him or you not gonna stand for Him. There's no in between. So don't compromise. Don't be wasting your time. Don't be holding out on your own potential. If you got a gift, master your craft. Do what you gotta do. And pay attention to God, man, for real. Don't be unequally yoked.